Good afternoon. Today we are having a very good discussion about supply chain management and making it smart by using the technology, that is the ICT and the machine-to-machine communication and Internet of Things. Now a new word, Internet of Everything, has also arisen. And a number of presentations using these technologies have been given, especially in the field of transportation and logistics. I will give a little bit brief. A lot of things have been covered in the session discussions and the presentations. The supply chain consists of network of manufacturing and distribution process that procure raw materials, transport it into intermediate or finished goods, and then distribute these goods to customers. All the components of the supply chain should be visible and transformed to have the experience so that the customer and the supplier should be able to know what is the position of the material or the finished goods at any point of time. These segments can be made smart by using the machine-to-machine technology such as RFID tags, Zigbee sensors, 6-loop technology, smart cards, GPS, LBS, etc. And the information coming from these devices, these sensors, that may be used in the CRM and the ERP being used by the enterprises. And this ERP will convert this information into a intelligence decision. And these decisions, this intelligence may be used by the enterprises for taking the decision at their level so that the supply chain works smoothly. So now you see in 1984, there were hardly 1,000 devices connected with the internet. In 2013, it reached to around 13 billion, and in 2020, it is expected to reach by 50 billion. And out of this 50 billion, the Cisco says that only 17% devices will be the smartphone, tablets, and the laptops. Remaining 83% will be the devices. It may be the refrigerator, smart home, smart cities, GPS, GPRS chips, surveillance cameras, etc., which may be in various verticals of the life, and all these things will make the life easy and will make it smart. Nowadays, a lot of things are being spoken about smart cities. A number of smart cities are expected to come in India, which has been announced by the Honorable Prime Minister. And a number of working groups are also working in Telecommunication Engineering Center on PPP model. We are having representation from the industries as well as from the government bodies, and we are covering all stakeholders like telecom service providers, vertical industries, and we are having working groups in transportation, power, that will cover smart grid and smart power, and surveillance, security, smart city, smart homes, and I will request from the audience to join the working groups of their interest. These are free. They can join the working groups and give make the use of their knowledge for contributing in the working groups. The working groups have released first technical report in TEC, that is 5 technical reports. One is in automotive, power, surveillance, health, and this gateway and architecture. These 5 technical reports were released in the month of May, and these were released by the Honorable Communication Minister in Vigyan Bhavan. These are available on TEC website. I will request the interested people may download the document and may read it. These are quite useful about the technology and how to use the technology, how to make, the intelligent transport system, how to use the machine-to-machine communication and Internet of Things in the intelligent transport system, like that. Government of India has already mandated that all transport vehicles should have GPS, GPRS, panic button, and video camera facilities. Like in the same way, the trucks which are transporting the costly goods may mandate at their own level that the trucks should also have the this GPS, GPRS facility as well as the cameras. And they can geofence the route, and it will at least reduce the possibility of hijacking the trucks. Even there was a story that one truck was hijacked at the border of Noida. It was carrying these electronic wafers of Sony or Ericsson, and this was taken to somewhere in the interior part of the western UP, and this was caught around 5 to 6 days later by the police. And if GPS, GPRS and other facilities technology is used in the trucks, at least they will be able to know that the truck is going out of the route. There are some challenges in the field of Internet of Things and machine-to-machine communication. A large number of sensors will be deployed in the network, and there are 3 things which are to be covered up, like the deployment of IPv6. For this, the government of India has already taken the decision. The telecom service providers and network operators are already upgrading their networks for the IPv6, and this chip manufacturers and the electronic wafer manufacturers, they should manufacture the devices which are compatible to use the IPv6. At least at present they can use dual stack, but in future IPv6 will mandate. Secondly, the battery life of the sensors. At present, the battery life is around 3 to 4 years or 5 years, but you see, if the millions of sensors are deployed in the country, it will be difficult to change the batteries of the sensors. The research is going on the sustainable technology for the sensors, so that the battery is not required to be changed. Nano generator type of chips have been developed, so that by the pressure of the air, the battery will get recharged. Or if any sensor has been implanted in the heart, the battery should get charged by the motion of the person. And third one is the standards. The machine-to-machine and IoT technology is not very old. It is a new technology, and a lot of research and discussions are going on worldwide. One M2M has been formed to finalize the standards for the common service layer, so that the verticals, the data from all the verticals may reside in the common data center. At present, everybody is having his own server and providing the different APIs. Like the M2M service provider will be available, and the verticals like automotive as well as health or surveillance, the data will be going to the same, using the horizontal service layer, it will be going to the same M2M service provider, or a number of M2M service provider may also be available. As by 2020, we can have a population of around 7.6 billion in the world, and we will be having around 50 billion devices. It means on an average 7 devices per person. So in that case, everything will be smart, from the connecting devices like connected persons, connected factories. Everything will become smart, and data will be transmitted. Then huge amount of data, managing huge amount of data will also be a challenge. And in this, enterprises have already opened a new department like big data analytics, and they are working on that. I will not take much time, and now we will have the discussion with our eminent panelist. So we are having with us Mr. Bipin Pradeep Kumar. He is the co-founder of Gaia Smart Cities. He has already shown the Johnnie Walker bottle as well as the Amazon dash buttons. Mr. Bipin Kumar is the co-founder of Gaia Smart Cities, a recent startup in the Internet of Things and Smart City Space at GSC. He is working to set up a platform and solution to offer smart communities as a service. Until recently, Bipin was at Reliance Jio Infocom Limited, where he oversaw new areas in the enterprise ecosystem, and he was responsible for all products and platforms interfacing with the core telecom network earlier. Bipin has been part of 2 startups in the mobile telecom space, the last one funded at a valuation of over USD 9 million. He has been part of low-cost telecom initiative in Southeast of Asia under UNIDO and has filed 3 patents in mobile technology. He drove TSDSI group on smart cities and is a member of International ITU group on smart sustainable communities. Bipin has a dual MBA from Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service and School of Business and ESADE Business School and an MSc from University of Wales. So, you will give presentation, something? So now I request Mr. Bipin Kumar to kindly.
Thank you, Sushilji. And I've already given a presentation, so I'm not going to bore you with a presentation. I'm going to talk very briefly about a topic that we have, manufacturing flow management. And it's a question that I have, since a lot of you luminaries in the supply chain field are here. You all are familiar with a company called Li & Fung. Li & Fung is a global supply chain specialist that's taken the advantages of globalization or the benefits of efficiencies globally or the benefits of inefficiencies globally to establish an unparalleled company. Now, Li & Fung have been able to do it with a phenomenal platform. I mean, how Li & Fung operate, for the people who don't know, is suppose a company in Europe gives a purchase order for manufacturing, Gap clothes. So what Li & Fung does is takes the cotton from India, perhaps, takes the dyeing and dyeing from maybe Thailand, takes the zippers from Japan and probably stitching the whole thing together from Bangladesh. So Li & Fung does this at a global level. I really don't understand why there isn't a company in India, considering the phenomenal phase that India is going with e-commerce and all of that, why there isn't a company in India that can do something similar. Having said that, if you look at it from a manufacturing point of view of building materials, in my earlier avatar, I was with Reliance Industries. And we make these, the building happens, the construction happens at a massive scale. As in every piece of joint or an iron is manufactured to scale and brought to the yard. And the yard, the Gujarat yard, is probably the size of Navi Mumbai to central Bombay, which is probably from Gurgaon, probably the entire size of Gurgaon. It's a couple of hundreds of acres. And this is the yard in which all these items are. And in this yard, things are dumped. And we use advanced technology. We use RFID to get to know which piece comes where, and then this whole piece gets set in automatically. But the problem is in a size of a yard like this, where do you go looking for this? Even your RFID works at a close range. You can't. You have to get this joints set. And what Reliance worked out is it's cheaper to just manufacture it again rather than go looking for it. If you can't find it within 2 days, just manufacture the piece again. That was one of the problems that comes in with supply chain inefficiencies. The other is what I spoke about, Li & Fung, and how Li & Fung operates is that a very closed, they have their platform. This platform is closed. Li & Fung operates it completely. But with the initiatives that Government of India is doing and all this data coming out in the open, what would happen if systems can pitch in, systems or vendors can know that you bought a piece of cotton or other huge bales of cotton, and I can pitch in for the rest of the manufacturing. And this is pretty much happening. We bought something from Alipay, AliExpress online, and we bought a couple of chips using AliExpress. In a few days, or rather in a few hours, I get another email from somebody else who who can do the chip to the next piece, who can manufacture a casing for that chip, who can provide an antenna for that chip. And these are open sourced. I mean, this data is out there. People are seeing that, and they are vending. It's supply chain, which is completely open. So this is also, in some level, for me to manufacture my complete piece with the data coming out in the open like this, different vendors are coming in and filling the need. So yes, there are possibilities here in the manufacturing flow management, and I would definitely hope to hear more from you folks on how and what we can do to achieve this, probably to get an Indian Li and Feng. With this, I'll leave the next. Mr. Damodar Sahu.
Thank you, Bipinji. We are having our second panelist, Mr. Damodar Sahu. He is the Director After Market Service Transformation and IoT Solution, Wipro Technologies. Mr. Damodar, an astute professional with proven success of over 18 years of rich experience in the field of after-sales service, warranty management, customer service delivery, client service, reverse logistics, channel service, call center management, service sales and marketing, profit center operations, material management, quality and team management. With sound academic credentials, Damodar graduated with a B.Tech in Electronics and Telecom Engineering with MBA and CRM and Operational Management from Amity University, well versed with ISO. Quality assurance. He has worked with organizations of repute like Wipro Technologies, Bharti Teletech, SL Frontline, Chorus Limited, and Bajaj Electricals Limited. Mr. Damodar Sahu works in aftermarket service transformation group of Wipro Technologies, manufacturing and high-tech SBU, providing advisory services to global discrete manufacturing clients to address their current and long-term challenges of the markets. Now to Mr. Sahu.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult to sit for a long time and listen to, right? So, but I have some interesting stuff to talk about. So I represent Wipro Technologies manufacturing and high-tech view, where we do close to $1.4 billion US business. And our group is called Service Transformation Group, and this is within manufacturing. And basically what we do is, so we are part of Wipro's non-linear business group, right? So it is not a IT services. It is part of non-linear, where this is basically a domain-led solutions. So let's say one of the domain-led solution is IoT. How this domain-led solution, let's say IoT, is helping the discrete manufacturers cut across all sectors, starting from automotive to aerospace, industrial manufacturer, peripheral, consumer electronics, high-tech, or even semiconductor and computing, right? So these IoT-led solutions, how it helps the entire supply chain or entire functional area of a manufacturer, let it be new product introduction, let it be your software automation or smart manufacturing, we call it, or let it be your sales, marketing, after sales, right? So if you talk about in our language, what are the topic has been given here, we call it IoTized supply chain. IoTized Kanban, in Japanese language they call it. So we call it IoTized supply chain. So let me give you an example. So let's say I will start with the automotive. We have a couple of case studies in global as well as Indian market. So let me talk about 2 examples or maybe 3 examples, which will clarify or make you understand in vehicle or maybe in car segment, right? So let's say connected car. So there are various type of connected car. So one is, let's say, you may black box, right? So we call it TCU. Let's say it's a hardware, telematics control unit, right? And this is your hardware which has to be fit inside the car, right? This is embedded. So it's a custom build for this particular OEM. Then there is a platform, you call it M2M or IoT, whatever you call it, or telematics, right? So this is a platform, and there is a backend IT infra, right? It may be cloud services. Your hardware, firmware, or software you call it, platform, then your backend IT infra. Then to manage the entire show, then you have to have a IoT command center. So this language I'm talking, IoT command center, is not a technical help desk. So IoT command center is nothing but, I think few of our speakers talk about how we will manage the entire cars running on the road, right? Connected to the command center, and you monitor them 24/7 On what parameter? In Indian context, let me talk about safety, security, second home. Second home has a different meaning. So here, second home, I will just come later. So in Indian context, if you talk about safety, security, so it's a major concern. If you say my kids going to school and I have a chauffeur-driven car, right? So, and let's say the school is 20 kilometers away from my home, right? So I want to geo-fence, even time fence. So I will see that he drops my kids at RAN International or DPS and he comes back to home to pick me or to pick my wife to work, right? So this is called geo-fence. Even also you can do time fence. Let's say it takes half an hour time, so you time fence it, so that if goes then no, you can even understand where is the location of the car, so that you can reach out to him. Even panic button, a lot of things are there. Then second thing is your safety, security part. It is the end customer point of view. Then if you talk about the dealer point of view, I will take all the stakeholders, OEM, R&D, OEM after sales, dealer, ultimately your end customer, then your insurance, then your equipment finance company. So how the entire connected car ecosystem helps the entire ecosystem or entire stakeholder of this particular supply chain, right? So similarly, a dealer, normally what happens, once the product's warranty is over, normally any OEM or dealer normally lose track of those customers, right? So once you are on IoT platform, then the customer is always connected with you, so that you can reach out to the client, to give him some upsell, cross-sell, or say some service camp. You can campaign it even through the IoT platform. And second, for OEM, then as the OEM is always connected to the network or connected to the product, then he gets all those real-time data. And data are even geo-specific data. So what geo-specific data stands here is, let's say the product failure in Calcutta or in Kerala region is different than in Bangalore or Delhi, right? Because of the climatic condition. Similarly, country-wise, you are getting a lot of failure report. So as it is connected to your cloud or to your IT infra, then all the early warnings can be determined immediately. So once you get early warning, then immediately you can have your better supply recovery, right? So your supply recovery, let's say that system will help you to have a better warranty redesign, right? So as you are getting a lot of connected data, real-time data, that will help you to have a better warranty design, better field service management. So based on because earlier what the OEMs used to work on, they used to work on the historical data, and the historical data is not on real time. So you see how the connected data or real-time data will help you to have a better product design next time, and how this real-time data will help you a better shop floor maintenance or shop floor automation, or we call it in smart manufacturing. Then your entire supply chain, sales and marketing, then after sales. So if basically we work on that, and if you talk about our value proposition, normally we go with our client, let's say in a manufacturing client, we talk about by using Wipro's IoT-led solutions, you are going to gain this much of revenue, you are going to reduce the cost of operation in each and every functional area, and your CSAT or customer attrition will be so and so. So it is not a CapEx, but it is purely OpEx, pay as you grow, upscale model, gain sharing, profit sharing kind of thing. Similarly, let me give you an example in earth moving or construction equipment or heavy equipment or any elevator industry. So it's all remote asset monitoring, or you can call it connected asset or connected devices or connected product. So let's say in elevator how elevator running is very critical. Let's say your automatic rescue device is not working or something went wrong, all right? So how immediately you can off one sensor and you can make another sensor automatically. So that the other, there are if you talk about the elevator or oscillator, so there are a couple of sensors or couple of devices so if one is not working, automatically we can make on. This is all automatically happens. Similarly in your aerospace industry, right? So, and this data also will give you how to predict a failure, right? Even how you can, we are helping these manufacturers to go from diagnostic to prognostic, right? Earlier what happened? Your car is breakdown, or your vehicle is elevator is breakdown, you used to call to the call center or take the car to workshop. Then he will diagnosis, right? So now the diagnosis what is no more used. If you talk about I am going to diagnosis, that means your device is not smart, your product is not smart. So we are enabling the OEM from a diagnostic to prognostic. So that means what? before a product fails, as a OEM, I should know that your brake pad of the car is going to fail in next 4 days. So I will alert the consumer, hey, your brake pad is going to fail in the next 4 days, so take your vehicle to the service center, right? Other than in ASEAN region, I have been reported that, especially Apple and other consumer electronics, that all the frauds happen in this ASEAN region. What kind of frauds? Let it be your warranty fraud, parts, labor claims by the service partner. So how to, especially happens in ASEAN region. So how to protect that? If you're having your device is sending connected, real-time data, then based on that you can design the PCB or the engine or anything costly part replaced by the service center or any by third-party partner can be detected and can be won to the consumer. It's the other way around, right? So it can even reduce your fraudulent claim so that your warranty cost will be minimized. And based on that, as you are having real-time data, then also you can redesign your entire field service management. Also, you can design your spare part planning. And it is also giving a supply to, entire your ERP system. Then also you can have a product, you can even optimize your entire inventory carrying cost. So it is not only applicable for your automotive or your industrial manufacturers, even for, let's say I'm giving an example on automotive, let's say safety and second home. So why that I will talk about the second home. Let's say my daughter is dropped at school. Now I will, my chopper is come to me, pick to me, to office. Then let's say I am listening Jagdish Singh Ghazal at home with some 24 degrees centigrade. It is Indian context, it may take 4 or 5 years down the line. But if you talk about developed market, we are working with General Motors and other in developed countries. So let's say the same Ghazal, same temperature, the moment I will get into my car, my entire smartphone data will get synced to the car, and my entire thing will get into there. So my temperature will be set to 24, right? I will have this seamlessly, I will the same music, and I will reach office. So that I talk about the second home. So once you leave your home for office, then you will have a similar feeling. The moment you will go to office, again office environment different, right? So once you come back from office to home via the same media, then let's say it is connected to your fridge or refrigerator or your maybe toaster, then let's say you want to, on the way back, you want to have a coffee, right? So let's say if your refrigerator talk about the milk level is low, right? So then that will trigger you, the system will trigger you, there is a nearby retail shop, let's say Walmart or whatever, right? So you go purchase the milk or whatever, or egg, chicken, whatever, and go home. I'm just thinking how the entire connected services can be, done through this IoT platform seamlessly, right? If you're driving on a highway, let's say you don't know where is the workshop or something, and you suddenly got into some problem, right? So let's say you no need to call to your service provider or roadside assistance. You just plug in to any social media, let's say Facebook or Twitter, LinkedIn, hey, I am got stock here. So no need to inform everything. Your OEMs are smarter, we are making them smart to know you that, yes, you are at the right position, you have carried this Audi so-and-so model, and your battery level or charge level is so-and-so. So they will send a rescue van, or they will replace the device, whatever they will do it. So what I meant to say, all this example is, this connected service we talk about, led by IoT, so one single message or click, your entire thing will be, sorted out. So I think that's about me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In the after-sales service, you are providing this GPRS unit that will be able to take the data from the sensors.
Yeah, so I forgot to mention. So if you talk about the kind of connected services, one is I talk about the embedded solutions. Other one is your onboard diagnostic, OBD1 and OBD2 we call it. And this also reads your engine parameters. And third is your, people are talking about since morning, the GPS-based or smartphone-based connected car or connected vehicle solution. And the other one we have recently launched is your rear view mirror-based connected car solutions. Your mirror view, yeah. So if you talk about other than the GPS, then others are all connected to your engine parameters. So
your device is able to take the data from.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Our next panelist is Mr. Girish Karandikar. He is Head of Sales, Trimble Transport and Logistics, SARC, Trimble Mobility Solutions, India Mr. Grace Krendikar is a sales leader with 18 years of experience in selling technology, products, solutions, and services. He also pioneered in popularizing telematics in India. His rich professional experience includes 10 years of institutional sales, channel sales, product marketing, and manufacturing. He has had valuable experience in working with some of the principal companies such as Mahindra Engineering Services Limited, Tata Auto Corp System Limited, Bajaj Tempo Limited, Mahindra and Mahindra Limited. He is an MBA from MIT Pune, Maharashtra. Currently, he is working as Head of Sales, Trimble Transport and Logistics, SARC at Trimble Mobility Solution, India. Now, over to Mr. Girish.
I think we had a very fantastic session the whole day. And in addition to Johnny Walker, I am going to remember Jagjit Singh ghazals. So I think perfect setting. So, somebody during the lunch complimented me that, I was telling something pretty practical, for which, he kind of complimented me. So I'll not fly the kite high because, we are stuck to the ground, into selling the things to transport and logistics segments. So while we heard about so many fantastic possibilities which, technology offers us, but what does the customer really want? Or what, being in the market for the last 10 years, we have been able to give to the customer. So maybe that will, set the tone or, an idea of, what the consumer is currently using. So I had only, 2 slides about the value proposition of, our solutions to the consumers, which really puts the things into perspective. So while, those 2 slides come on, I think Mr. Sushil Kumar really, I think said that pioneered telematics. So let me tell you, how I came into telematics, and he also missed that, I used to work with Bosch at that time, and I used to be heading the UP operations. And, I had no, connectivity with technology. I did not even know much about, computer applications and all those things. But I used to get lots of material from various parts of the country, which we used to sell through our distribution network in the UP, through a distribution network of almost 200 dealers. And during every month end, all the people in the sales of commodities, the month end is a time when you sell almost 40% of your material. My trucks would not come in. And, last 2 days, more than generating orders, I would have to, run to ensure that the material reaches so that I don't miss my sales targets. And every time, when I would talk to the suppliers, I was told that, the truck has just crossed Jhansi, now it has just crossed Kanpur, and, the last day the truck would not come to Lucknow. And, I would keep on wondering that, the truck came to Kanpur on 29th, on 30th, it should have come in 2 hours' time. So why the hell has it not come? So many a times to meet the targets, we have specially driven down, from Lucknow to Kanpur, spotting a truck on the road that, is that truck there, with this particular number? And of course, those trucks were never there. So when I got to know about, telematics in 2004, that, some technology of that sort, exists, I thought that, oh my God, what a field is emerging. The moment I enter into this field, there'll be queues outside my office and people will be saying, please come and fit this technology in, our trucks. But, there were challenges and the reality is far different than what it is. So, in 2005, I remember, my first experience of meeting a transporter and, I newly learned, how to open that web application, try to show things to people. And when I was, struggled for almost an hour on his computer, trying to show him things, and then he said that, what are you doing on my computer? I said, the website is not opening. He said, by any chance, usko internet connection lagta hai kya? I said, of course. He said, no, but I don't have an internet connection. So I think from 2005, when people did not have internet connections, people did not distinguish between GPS and GPRS. I think we have flown, come a long way, and of, all various interesting things which we can do. So along the way, I thought of, again sharing an example of, how people have really used telematics on the ground. I can share, a good example of a very complex solution which we had built for a concrete manufacturing company. And I think that was the first time, that gave me the confidence that, all these things can really work in unison. Because till that point in time, things would not really work. One thing would, sometimes a SIM would not work, sometimes this would not work. So here, there was a practical challenge on the ground that the concrete, the transit mixers, which you have seen those big things mixing things on the road, they carry concrete. And the driver, to save some amount of, it runs on either a separate engine or on the same PTO-driven, main engine. So the drum has to rotate at an RPM of 6 RPM to ensure that the concrete does not solidify. The concrete companies claim that, instead of buying cement and mixing concrete at your own place, if you buy concrete from me, you will get a fantastic quality. Now the driver reduces the RPM from 6 to 1. And why? Because so that at the end of the day, he will save 1 or 2 liters of fuel. And when he reaches the construction site, there is also a water tank meant to clean the drum after the concrete is poured. So this guy would, add some water into that, churn it very quickly so that the concrete visibly looks the same, but it has become hygroscopic. It has got more water content than the formula should, have, which means that later on the buildings will develop cracks and so on. And for what a meager amount, for a liter of fuel, he will sabotage the entire business plan of a concrete company. So, we were contracted, to make, study the process, do all those things. So we fitted, the drum rotation sensors, the water flow sensors, all the geofencings of the loading areas of the complete plant, and a complete, application was developed around it and then integrated to the customer's ERP. So the moment an order comes, many people have said, examples like that. So when an order comes, automatically it pops up in the ERP. They find which truck is there in the loading area, at what RPM the drum is rotating, and all these stuffs. So today, all this long way from a time when the transporter did not know that, there is an internet connection is required, GPRS is required, to a time when people have actually, we actually see that on a daily basis, people are implementing technology in today. Now, the key things, which, as Trimble, our focus area is, as I said earlier in the presentations, is enterprise customers, because those are the customers who can plan 3 years in advance. I was telling to someone that this technology is, if you try to find out all the ROI and other things, and I was just listening to some presentations on security also, there is no easy calculations of the ROIs for safety and all those things. For the organizations who don't face problems for years together, and there are some organizations which face recurring problems. But we have found that there are 4 aspects of value which we promise to our customers, and we have got a methodology of delivering that. So these are the 4 things, for example, load planning, when it comes to logistics, when it comes to transportation, these are the four things, which we commit to our customers, and these are the things which all enterprise customers take from us. So load planning, trip performance, the end customer, consumer satisfaction, and the safety. So we, using our solutions, have been able to provide, automated vehicle availability forecast. Now, one of the biggest challenges of any logistics manager on the ground during the month ends, the way I used to struggle, when will my truck come? The supplier, on the other hand, is struggling that he does not have a sufficient number of vehicles available to be dispatched. So the only way is, and the grounds, if people have seen those, grounds of cement companies, they are massive areas. You really cannot make out that whether this truck is yours, whether it's working, not working, and so on. So first important point we have been able to address is automated vehicle availability report, which comes to the business users as an SMS and as an email on a regular basis, that this is your total truck position. Against this is your load planning. So this is the delta which needs to be worked out. Then there is, an effort to improve the turnaround time, because that is where, the entire cost for a logistics manager is hidden. And then reduce traffic at the hub points, internal traffic, which cause a lot of congestion for the loading areas. Trip performance. Now, I think one of the points was about analytics. Now, there is not sufficient amount of data which is available. For example, I was talking yesterday to the director of a big, large cement company, which is into operations for the last so many decades. And I was just trying to find out that, that how have they found out the distance between the supply plant and their end customer. He said, I don't know that how we have fixed it up. Maybe, over the years, the transporters have said something. And then I compared that data with another large-scale project which we did for another multinational company. We found that the distances, which were used as a standard distance, for paying to the, to the transporters, had a variance of between 6 to 26%. And, but it took almost more than a year to generate that data and then take the decision. Because even though these systems, they give data, but you need to generate that data, over and over again to be very, very sure that, because the route might be, some different detour might have been taken, to be very sure before you take that into action. Providing an expected time of arrival, monitoring en route detentions and all other things. Most importantly, on-time delivery. Most of our customers have really, the end customers, over the years of time, they have realized that the deliveries have become on time. If anyone understands logistics, the unloading point needs a lot of preparedness. All these trucks cannot come into cities at night times and other stuff. There needs a preparedness and a manpower to unload the material. So most of the times the trucks reach at a time when you don't have anything, and that's one of the reasons why whenever you see trucks parked outside and all these places, because they are not in sync. So what we try to do with our entire analytics platform, we try to ensure that the unloading time and the dispatch time and all the transit times, these are matched so that there is manpower available to unload that material. And safety index, which is now started getting appreciated. Some companies have made a norm that, there have to be 0 accidents, and safety has become one of the important things. And, so we provide a lot of information with related to, speeds, with harsh braking, freewheeling, sudden maneuvers, and all of the things which are permissible within the small cost of these things. There are other technologies with respect to cameras and other things, but the costs don't permit people, to do that. So there has to be balance between what the market can pay and all the benefits which we can do. So these are, I thought, I should leave with the practical, the value propositions which people actually are using these things today on the ground on this forum. Thank you.